All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys had a good day. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin for the day here. So, taking a look, we have a fairly bullish day. I would say as long as we close, not only just a bullish candle, but I want to see us close in the 60,000 range. I do not want to see us lose 60,189, okay, and close below there. I want to see us regain this and not come back for a while. This is going to be, I want this to be treated as support. So, good thing I still have a highlighted green. I want to see us reclaim that, and close the day in a very strong bullish way. Okay, not looking bad so far. 12 hour got some bullish candles. It's great. Again, want to see this closing above 60,189. 8 hour, touching the 21 again. Hopefully we can eventually get above it. So not looking too bad here. Let's see, 4 hour, about the same. We're above the 21 now, so that's a decent sign. You can basically expect eventually, as long as we can stay above here, we're gonna hit up to 61, 124. So I would definitely be targeting at least this top right here, if which is around 60,973, which would be our bearish 786. And then if not 61, 124. If it does want to be extremely bullish, we could come back up and visit 62, 109. The one thing that I will say is, there is a potential, and I think probably the only way that I would possibly get into a long right now is if I saw one more retracement with a really strong reaction. So maybe around 59,795, testing this 59.7 level one more time and then blasting off from there. That is possible. So, you know, I just don't want to see the bigger time frame candles close down here. I want to see if we get down here, I want to see a strong reaction, come back up, easily retake this area. But we don't have to come all the way back down here. I'm just saying in general, this is probably where I would possibly enter if, I were able to see a really good reaction from there. But right now it looks extremely bullish. If you guys are in longs so far, just you can hang tight. Not financial advice, but it is looking decent. You kind of have some sort of a flag forming right here. So you kind of have this, right? This is like the oddity, but you have this type of flag here. I mean, this can look like a shoulder head, right shoulder. It's also, it could be a bullish consolidation type flag. So if I pull this, right, let's see, right here, I'll drag this. So we were talking about either going down, again, testing that 57 level I was talking about before the measure move, or we come back up and we test, 61,000-ish. So either one of those looks possible for right now. It does look very bullish consolidation. You got the 21 meeting with the 15, and we're staying above it. So, that's kind of the Sammy special right there in a bullish flaggish pattern. So it's looking pretty decent so far. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I thought that this would be another rollover. So, and I know from a timing perspective, one interesting thing is that Bitcoin likes to make some major moves on full moons, and tonight's a full moon, strawberry moon, I believe. So, definitely has a chance, a potential to go to the upside, on, if it's going to tonight. So, from a timing perspective, the 1 minute, and we are getting closer to that 200. The other time frames look better than the 1 minute. This, again, like I said, could be a shoulder head, right shoulder. I would expect it, if it does come down here, like I said, I would be looking for that, honestly, I would probably even draw it from maybe this impulse right here. So maybe around 59,795, let's say. So I'm going to mark this off and I'll make it red for today. And so let's see if that lines up with liquidity. I haven't taken a look at liquidity in a while, so we'll see if that lines up with the orders or liquidity. But that's kind of where I would be targeting potentially, if we were to make like a slight drop on the smaller time frames and then maybe work our way up, hopefully. Let's go ahead and take a look at trading different for now. So trading different, 4 hour. We did our daily coverage of it this morning, so we'll just drop straight into the 4 hour. 4 hour, again, still showing liquidity on both sides. You have that green above, so it does allude to the fact that we can get up to 63,000-ish, it looks like. And obviously down below, 56-ish. Now, one thing I will say, guys, is if we do pump, there is a potential, yes, that we can get up to here. I'm not expecting it. So what I'm expecting is, at least a retest of that 62 range again. We're not dealing with huge ranges yet, at least to the upside, that I can tell. So, unless we start taking out, some of this, I gotta probably even narrow this down even further. Um, some of this, more of this 25x and even some of this 10x up here probably, you're not going to see a range bound move even above 64,000 just yet. It's more so going to be like a bearish retracement from one of these points right here. So if I take it from this, you can see 62,294, right? Which aligns with that green area. So I would target 62,294 if we are going to move to the upside, around 62,3. I'll put a yellow line there. We'll see if that comes and tests that out tonight. But nothing, I mean, we're talking about a $2,000 move from where we're at right now. So nothing major. It is a very good sign that, if we can get a little bit more bullish, but I'm not expecting anything substantial just yet from a timing perspective. Looking at the 1 hour. So our hourly does have a -1 on the trend diff as well as a -1 on the daily. So it does tell us like maybe a slight move to the downside might be happening. Um, let's see, 61.5. You got some at 62.140. Let me see. I'm wondering if maybe on the 15 we can dive into some of those other areas I was talking about and see. Look at how that 62.230 really aligns with this red area, right? So um, I'm expecting us at the very most to get up here, test this level, and probably get rejected. But that's kind of what I'm seeing so far. You are starting to get more liquidity built up to the downside here. Let me adjust this pool here. Wonder if I can start seeing. Yeah, still nothing right below us, so that's a decent sign. Okay, there we are. So our 100x shows some around 59.8 with a little bit taking out this, basically this local bottom around 59.4. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, 59.8. What did I say on the TradingView chart? It was 59.794. I mean, that's close enough. You could actually front run that. It's amazing how things line up, but you could actually front run that to do 59.850 or 59, 900 or something like that and front run that level. Probably get a decent entry, taking out some of this liquidity before moving to the upside. So not financial advice, but I am right now. I see that we're more in a bullish sentiment, at least on the kind of the meso time frame. I wouldn't even say on the macro, but on the meso. So I would be targeting, like I said, 61,125. We get above it, and then obviously that 62,109, 62,250 area would be another area. I think it was 62,235 or something like that. So I'm gonna target this area as well. Um, but that's kind of what I'm seeing so far, guys. So going into the 5 minute finally, diving into the 100x, you kind of see the same thing, just a little bit more up close. Zoomed in a little bit more. So this is what I'm targeting right here, 59,881 right here. Somewhere around there, we'll get some sort of bounce probably. If we are going to take a small dip, this is a head and shoulders first. Let me zoom in here. All right, perfect. So I will say, until we break this 59,794 right here, this is kind of going to be my line in the sand for tonight. Until we break, 59,794, 59,702 area, we have to assume that we're going to stay bullish for the time being, or in a more of a bullish sentiment. Once we drop below 59,702, we get accepted back into this lower area, then that's when we can target 58s, 57s, whatnot. But we have to really focus on this because I'm expecting a bounce from somewhere in here. Okay, 59,702, 59.8, 59.9 even, somewhere in there, you want to see a very decent bounce off of to get us back into 60s. Okay. Let's take a look at the order book on the right, and then we'll take a look at the simple map real quick. So our order book on the right here shows, it's kind of the same thing, right? 59.7, 59, mainly 59 down to 59.5 even. But possible support area, right? Look at all these orders lined up. So we could possibly take some of these out or use some of these as support. I personally am probably going to front run to like 59.850 to do some sort of smaller scalp if we can get down there. and then I'll write it up. But again, it's going to be high risk because there is still a lot of low volume. I'm just going to kind of try to tie into the bullish narrative. So I will put an order at 59,850 or around there. And then if we hit it, great. If not, that's fine as well. But that's what I'm going to be targeting before we move to the upside. If I don't get it, it's fine. I'm not going to FOMO out. So it's a very difficult market, as you guys know, for right now. Again, going to the upside, it's temporary, right? You have 61.5, 61.4, 61.2. So it's nothing that's going to be, a potential really expansive move. Like I said, at the most, you can target the 62 area, but don't expect anything major off of this move just yet, I would say. Unless, and this, you got to keep in mind too, today's Monday, we're going into Tuesday. We could possibly make our high for the week. It could be another bearish week, make our high Monday or Tuesday and then have it fall from there, taking out some of these orders, right? So just, it's not really something that I want to hold without more confirmation, okay? So anyways, guys, so that's what I'm seeing on the trading different chart as well as our Kiyotaka order book map here. Let's go ahead and go into our simple map. All right, so on the simple map, let me zoom in just a little bit more here. All right, so you can see that we have quite a bit of, decent amount, especially for the time being, of shorts to the upside, that we can start taking out, at least up to 61, 140-ish, it looks like, 120-ish, which aligns with our kind of our narrative we've been painting so far. Really, there's some 100x longs right below us to 59.7. Where have you heard that number before, right? So, you could easily take out this 100x, and then have a bounce from there. It starts to die off. It looks like around 59.740 downwards. So, I'm gonna front run that 59.850, 59.880 somewhere in there, and see if I can get a decent scalp in for the day. So that's what I'm targeting, and then bouncing, like I said, probably take profit 61, 124 depending on how it reacts there. I would ideally like to get up to 62, but not sure how realistic that is in the market we're in. But again, guys, just keep in mind, very, very low volume, right? I mean, look at these cumulative longs, right? 0.34, $340,000 worth of longs, right? I mean, we're not even talking 1 million. So just be mindful of the environment that we're in. It can very easily go up and then just completely turn on a dime and reverse the other direction. Your swing, time frames, not really looking, great per se. I mean, you do have some more up to 61.2, so we could take out this bar before heading lower. But again, right next to us, like we've been talking about, look at all these millions of dollars worth of longs, right? Even to 471 million, right? So it gives a lot of incentive for the market makers to come over here and take some of this out. Not that we're going to take all of it out, but at least to take some of it out, okay? So it just is not looking great, again, from a bullish perspective. I mean, you have to get up to, what was it? To get to 300 million, like right next to us in the shorts here, where was our 300? Right around here, 56.6. You have to get all the way up to, what, 74,000? So what's closer, right? 56.6 from where we are, or 74,000, 73,800. It's going to be a very slow grind up until we can see more, aggregated and consolidated liquidity right next to price action versus this far away. We need to have a lot more shorts in the market, which volume's low. There's not as many people in the market. We're just not seeing the traders in right now because of summer vacation. So keep that in mind, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Again, these are the areas that I'm targeting, not financial advice, but I choose the trades that are the most probable to get into. So based off of my probability and what we just went through, it looks like if we're going to say in a bullish sentiment, we bounce off of 59.8 area and we at least come up and test the 61 area. So something to think about. All right, guys, take care. I will talk to you in the morning. Have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you later.